Hello. There we go. Seem to be having some technical difficulties this morning. Mississippi House of Representatives is now in session. Please let the House come to order. Please stand as we're led in prayer today by a guest minister to be introduced by the gentleman from Rankin. Remain standing thereafter for the pledge.
Good morning. Y'all don't have to listen to me pray this morning, but I do want to introduce my pastor, Chip Stevens from First Baptist of Jackson.
Let us pray. Our Father, we bow before you today, and we begin just by praising you for who you are. You're the God of the heavens, and what a beautiful day you've given us. So we thank you for the beautiful day that you have created for us. We thank you for giving us breath in our lungs, the opportunity to gather here together this morning. Father, we thank you for this great state of Mississippi. We thank you for these that you have placed in positions of leadership in our state. And Father, I pray for all of these men and women who are here today, that you will guide them in your wisdom, guide them in your strength, guide them in your grace. Pray your blessing on their families. Father, we certainly pray your blessing on our state. And as we honor and pledge our allegiance to the United States, we thank you for your grace. It allows us to live in such a wonderful country, and we pray your blessings on our nation as well. Father, again, thank you for your grace. Thank you for your love. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Face the flag and salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, open the machine, Madam Clerk. Nothing a little duct tape can't fix. Close the machine, Madam Clerk.
There's a quorum present, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll have the reading of the journal. Gentleman from Rankin moves we dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Report of select committees.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Report of standing committees.
We have reports on the calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Introductions of bills and constitutional amendments. Gentleman from Marion, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading of the introductions.
Is there objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Resolutions, petitions, memorials, and other.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This time we'll have the introductions of guests and visitors. Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask the House to help me welcome a couple of friends of mine. One is a classmate of mine from Jackson State University, Ms. Lynette Sutler, who's sitting in the North Gallery. And the other one is a dear friend of mine, Mr. Tyrone Thigpen, who is sitting in the South Gallery. Please help make them welcome.
Gentleman from Scott, Mr. Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have an introduction. I have a couple of my friends in the North Gallery today. I have the Chief of Police from Forest, Mississippi, Chief Will Jones, and also the gentleman from Newton and the gentleman from Clark would like to help me introduce he's from Forest as well, but he's the Chief of Newton, Chief Randy Patrick.
Lady from Madison, Ms. Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the North Gallery, I have a whole slew of Madisonites here today, and I'm not going to list your names, but I would like for you to wave so everybody will know that you're mine.
Gentleman from Neshoba, Mr. Bounds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House and the South Gallery, please welcome a group of 8th grade students from back in my district from the Tucker Elementary School, and their principal, Gene Clyburn, and their teacher, Miss Pam Breland. Please give them a big welcome.
Any other introductions? I don't see any. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of special guests to be recognized today. Before we do that, I would like to get to one item of business that we need to take care of. If you'll turn to page 29 on your calendar, item number 24, SCR 583. This is a motion to suspend the rules, allow for the introduction of an eminent domain bill. This is a matter of urgent business we need to take care of. So I'm going to go to that item, recognize the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I call up SCR number 583, and this is a suspension of rules for introduction, codify constitutional provision for eminent domain. That's my explanation of this, and move it.
Any questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the resolution, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 113 yeas, 0 nays, the resolution passes.
Mr. Speaker, I move immediate release.
Any objection? Hearing none, we'll do that. You need to call a rules meeting, gentlemen.
We need to have a rules meeting right now.
Rules meeting in the rules room. And while the chairman has his meeting, we're going to deal with the 9 special guests that he has given us to honor today. Jim from Jefferson, Mr. Harness, what purpose you seek recognition?
Introduction out of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I just noticed that a classmate of mine just walked in the South Gallery. Will y'all please make Mr. Marquise Robinson welcome?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of special guests, so I'm going to ask you to find your seats and give us your attention. We want to make sure these people are respected and honored, so please give us your attention. All right, I'm going to recognize the gentleman from Rankin to come forward, introduce our special guest, his special guest. Oh, you're going to the gallery, gentlemen? Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your patience. There appears to be a number of special guests to be recognized, many of whom are trying to get in the gallery. I think we've got to figure out who, which House members are going to recognize whom. So give us a few minutes to figure that out. Lady from Harrison, Ms. Barnes, what purpose you seek recognition?
Recognition, please, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
While I was a student at Jackson State, I met our doctor of the day, Dr. Morgan Miller. She practices family medicine in Byron with Merit Health. Help me welcome her to the floor. Kind of tells my age.
Jim from Pike, Mr. Porter.
Introduction out of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, in our North Gallery, I have my middle school principal, Mr. James Jenkins, and his wife, my first grade teacher, Miss Betty Jenkins, and their son, Jamie Jenkins. Please make them feel welcome.
Jim from Pike, Mr. Porter. I see that you have a guest to be recognized here. Are you prepared and ready to go forward with that?
They are in the gallery waiting. Well, they're upstairs waiting to get into the gallery.
Okay.
So, not quite yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim from Hines, Mr. Banks, you have an introduction?
Our former Hines County Justice Court Judge, Mr. Clyde Chapman from Terry. Clyde, good to see you. Thank you for being with us today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, out of respect for your time, we're going to the calendar. As I look through the calendar, I come to page 18. I see item 42 has filed a conference report. Chairman's not in here. We'll pass on that one. I come to item 89. Transportation has filed a conference report. I don't see the chairman. That brings us to page 30, suffrage bills. I'll recognize Chairman and Judd B.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the suffrage calendar, we're going to start at number 2, House Bill number 1719, I believe. I want you to recognize the gentleman from Covington to handle the bills. Ladies and gentlemen, we passed these out. I've talked to individual members. The Senate has a commitment to pass as long as it's not having to do with public funds or a violent offense, and that is what we're attempting to bring to you today, are crimes that were committed that are not public crimes and or violent offenses. And if you would recognize the gentleman from Covington.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1719, to restore suffrage to Angela Porter Williams of Eminent County, convicted of embezzlement 2006. It was not public funds embezzlement, it was a private company. And she was discharged from probation June 2008. That's the description of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1719. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine. Madam Clerk, by vote 114 yeas, 0 nays, bill passes. Next item. Next item.
What's the next one? Call up House Bill 1721, make the usual motions.
Chairman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read a third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1721 concerns Gerald Laird of Jefferson Davis County, convicted of robbery in 2003, was released and finished all the conditions of his sentence May 2009. That's the description of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1721. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 106 yeas, 0 nays, bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1729, called up, make the usual motions.
Chairman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Anthony Leroy Wallace of Harrison County, convicted of robbery 1999 and felony DUI 2002. He was discharged, completed all terms of his sentence 2009, and that is the description of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1729. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 110 yeas, 0 nays. Bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1730, called up, make the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Ray Farrell of Harrison County, convicted of burglary in 1985, completed all terms and conditions of his sentence 1987. And that's the description of the bill.
Question? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1730. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 109 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1731, called up, make the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Deborah Ledbetter of Hines County, convicted of forgery credit card in 1996 and 2001. She completed all terms and conditions of her sentence and was discharged June 2001. That's the description of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1731. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 111 yeas, 0 nays. The bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1732, called up. Make the usual motions.
Chairman calls the bill up. Moves the rules to be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Annie Mae Grant of Hinds County, convicted of forgery 1994, discharged, completed all terms and conditions of her sentence 1996. That's the description of the bill.
Question? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1732. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 111 yeas, 0 nays. The bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1737, called up. Make the usual motions.
Chairman calls the bill up. Moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Kenneth Pritchard of Rankin County, convicted of uttering forgery in 2007, 2009, and vehicle theft 2009 and 2011. Completed all terms and conditions of his sentence, was discharged January 2012. That's the description of the bill.
Question? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1737. In favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 107 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
House Bill 1738, called up. Make the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Charles Harris of Harrison County, convicted of embezzlement of private funds, no public funds involved. And he was discharged, released, all conditions met in 1992. That's the description of the bill.
Question? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1738. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 107 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Mr. Speaker, can I ask for immediate release on all those that were passed?
Any objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Chairman of Education indicates he had one item on the concurrence, non-concurrence calendar he wishes to concur in. I will recognize him to come forward. Concur or invite comment?
Concurring.
You need to come to the well, gentlemen. Motion to concur is tantamount to final passage. We need to present those from the well in case there are questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is on page 27 on concurrence calendar number 5. We'd like to concur with the Senate on House Bill 1416.
You wish to explain?
Well, it's just what we passed here on our side. This is the Student Protective Equal Access Rights Act.
Any questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Motion is to concur. House Bill 1416. If you favor the motion, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 112 yeas and 2 nays. Bill passes. Any other chairman have an item on the concurrence, non-concurrence calendar while we're there? I don't see any. We've not done any. We want to do this in the domain. Ready for that? That brings us to the rules calendar. I'm going to recognize Madam Clerk to read the report of the Committee on Rules.
Report of Committee on Rules, House Bill 1769, eminent domain, prohibit transfer of property acquired by for 10 years after acquisition. Time sufficient to pass.
Recognize the chairman.
Mr. Speaker, if we could recognize the pro tem to explain the bill.
All right, gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered in gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 1769 follows closely with the suspension resolution that we just passed that came over from the Senate. Some of you, especially those that serve on Judd B, will remember we passed this bill out of Judd B, and then maybe it died on the calendar after that, but we had it. This is the bill that came to us as a request of private landowners, concerned citizens. Farm Bureau weighed in on it. This was an attempt to codify the constitutional amendment that went in 2011, if y'all will remember the big public fight over eminent domain and who could take property and for what purpose. And the ballot initiative that followed said that any property taken for eminent domain purposes could not then be deeded to a private entity, person, or corporation for a period of 10 years. After the lawsuit that ended last summer with our Supreme Court ruling that our ballot initiative process was invalid with regards to the medical marijuana initiative, the people who were behind this ballot initiative on eminent domain became very concerned and were afraid somebody may attack that constitutional amendment as well that went through on the initiative process. So they wanted to codify this into statute. And so that was the purpose behind the original House bill. I believe the Senate had a bill as well. And if any of you who are interested in track that, y'all will remember some senators or leadership down there attempted to amend that bill, maybe to favor a particular project in a part of the state that was bubbling up. And there was immediate and swift backlash, and the Senate eventually killed the bill. The parties who were behind the bill even asked us to kill our bill, afraid that this would be watered down if it made it to the Senate end, and they didn't want to take any chances. They would just take their chances with the constitutional amendment and somebody trying to attack it. So this won't undo the constitutional amendment, but it will be a belt and suspenders approach in that the provisions protecting private landowners in the eminent domain process, we will be simply codifying our constitutional amendment from Article 3, Section 17A into our statutes. And specifically, what the act, and I know y'all can read as well as I do, but it's very short and plain, and I'm going to read it to you verbatim. It says, no property acquired by the exercise of the power of eminent domain under the laws of the state of Mississippi shall, for a period of 10 years after its acquisition, be transferred or any interest therein transferred to any person, non-governmental entity, public, private partnership, corporation, or other business entity, with the following exceptions. And those exceptions being flood control projects with levee components, seawalls, dams, toll roads, et cetera. Y'all can read that. What you would consider the generic purposes that eminent domain was intended for. It is effective upon passage. Mr. Speaker, that is a brief explanation of the bill. I'd be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Gentleman from Holmes, Mr. Clark, for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
And gentlemen, I just want to start off by saying I'm not necessarily against what the gentleman is trying to do, but just food for thought. Previously, it was under the state constitution. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And
with the amendment, yes.
Yeah, and this basically would be just a statutory codified statute. Is it correct?
That's correct.
So with that being said, gentlemen, as you know, often we do projects in the state in which the state is the catalyst for the development. So hypothetically, is it possible that the legislature could give an exemption under this statute since it's not in the Constitution and allow for eminent domain processes to take place?
Do you mean by statute?
Through statute or the legislation.
I guess in theory you could. This in no way undoes the constitutional amendment that still sits there. I guess it would still be subject and fly over, which sounds like a law school question that I'm trying to forget all memories of that. But yes, We're the legislative body. We could, we could amend this statute any way this body desires.
So, gentlemen, with that being said, I think this is a good first step, but along the way, I think we might need to tighten up the suspenders and the belt.
I appreciate your comments.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That must be something you two gentlemen from Holmes County know about.
Gentleman from Tallahatchie could tell us about that.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question for House Bill 1769. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118, yeas, 0 nays. Bill passes. You want immediate release on that one?
Immediate release.
Any objection? Hearing none, we'll do that. Anything else on the rules calendar?
Mr. Speaker, if we could go and take up the rest of the rules calendar and take them up in a block if there are no one that objects.
Yes, sir.
All right, if we can go.
Gentlemen request we take them up in a block, so we'll go to all SCRs. Item 1
through 23.
Through 23. Does anyone wish to have one of these items set aside? I'll give you a moment to look at them.
Are you on that? That's tomorrow's. But help me remember.
All right, I don't see anyone wishing to have one set aside. We'll let Madam Clerk program the computer. Any questions on any of these resolutions? I do not see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the resolutions, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 122 yeas, 0 nays. Resolutions are adopted. You wish to take up all the HRs, gentlemen?
Yes, sir. That would be
That'd
25.
be items 25 through 33. Anyone have a question on any of these resolutions? I don't see any. If you favor the resolutions, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Anything further?
No, sir.
All right. Appears then that brings us down to the local and private calendar. Does local and private wish to take anything up today?
Mr. Speaker, we would ask immediate release on all rules.
Any objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Chairman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Speaker, I want to go to item number 1, House Bill, call up House Bill 1763. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules to be suspended. Bill considered engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This would, House Bill 1763 would allow or authorize the Board of Supervisors of Kemper County to enter into some contracts with a company that's going to build a gas line to extend gas services to various parts of the county. And that is an explanation of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurred on House Bill 1763. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 4 nays, bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 2, call up Senate Bill 3181. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a strike call.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill, this is a bill for Grenada County, the city of Grenada, I'm sorry. This is really the intent here is just to extend the repealer on an existing tourism tax that's been in place since 1992. We have been asked to put a Instead of a normal 4-year repealer, the strike all is a 1-year repealer to allow some of the members to have an opportunity to work with them about making some changes to the content of the bill before next session. That's an explanation of the strike all, and that's an explanation of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Questions? I don't see any. If you favor the strike, all indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Questions on the bill?
Move final
I
passage.
don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on Senate Bill 3181. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Vote machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 108 yeas and 8 nays, bill passes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm informed we are honored to have in the North Gallery today Congressman Michael Guest, standing up there. Please make him feel welcome. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 3, call up Senate Bill 3200. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to recommit that bill.
Motion is to recommit. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to go to item number 4, call up House Bill 1762. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1762 would allow the cities of Clinton, Raymond, and Bolton to enter into a regional wastewater authority. Many times these smaller communities, in trying to meet the requirements of the Clean Water Act, it's very difficult for these smaller towns to do that. These rules and different regulations on the federal side have gotten more difficult, and so a lot of these areas across the state, this is actually mirrors several other regional systems that already exist in the state, and that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? Gentleman from DeSoto, Mr. Criswell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Sure.
So eminent domain seems to be a hot topic this year. In this bill, it talks about eminent domain. Can you explain what they're going to use the eminent domain and whose property they're going to take care of?
This would probably be for running water lines, sewer lines, those types of things. No, things that I think are consistent with regional wastewater systems. We have a number of them. This one mirrors many of the other ones we have in the state.
So is what we just passed going to affect this in any way?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1762. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 111 yeas and 4 nays, bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 5, call up House Bill 1767. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1767 is for Harrison County. They're part of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we passed a very similar bill for Jackson County. They're also part of that regional commission. What we're doing with this bill is exactly what we did with the Jackson County bill. We're basically just changing the way the flow of the tax revenue comes into the Department of Revenue. That money then goes to the Tourism Commission. In Jackson County's case, we now pass that money through the county to the Tourism Commission. There's an explanation as to why that's important. Harrison County, this will do exactly the same thing for Harrison County. And what this does, it ends up getting all 3 counties that's part of the regional tourism group on the same footing. Hancock County the money has always flowed that way, and this just gets Harrison County and Jackson County in exactly the same position that Hancock County has always been in. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1767. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 108 yeas and 5 nays, the bill passes.
Mr. Speaker, we need immediate release on those, please.
Any objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears to me we've completed our work on the calendar. Is there anything I have missed? Is there any chairman that has an item that I have missed? Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, what purpose?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. On yesterday's calendar, on the local and private calendar, I inadvertently voted no on Laurel's tax, and I'd like to ask unanimous consent to change my vote to yes.
I don't hear any legitimate objection. Change the lady's vote. What was that bill number, lady? Do you remember? If you'll provide it to Madam Clerk, please. Jim from Harrison, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the last bill for Harrison County, House Bill 1767, my desk mate and I were talking to someone, and we're not sure if we got to vote for that thing or not.
Are y'all for Harrison County?
Yeah, we for that.
So what is your request, gentlemen?
Say,
what is your request?
We want to vote for that bill. 1767.
Okay.
And I think they turned the machine off before we got to vote.
Oh, wow. Speaker's fault.
The truth will finally come out.
Speaker's fault that you didn't get to vote, huh?
That's right.
While you were talking.
That's correct.
While you were talking. Speaker cut it off too quick.
I'll run laps.
The clerk tells me you actually voted, so.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Haney must have pushed the bills while we were shooting the bull. I didn't catch that. Thank you. I didn't think we voted for it.
Abbott and Costello back there.
I didn't think we voted for it.
Gentleman from Humphreys, Mr. Strawder.
He said, did we vote?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On today's calendar, item number 24, House Bill 583, we were not voting. We want to vote yea on that.
Complete the paperwork.
You got to fill out the paperwork. Fill out the form. They may need to fill out the paperwork.
Gentlemen, Madam Clerk indicates you got to fill out this form up here when you record a vote.
Thank you for telling me. Will you tell these two gentlemen to close their mouths back here?
Oh, goodness. Gentleman from Fayette, Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like unanimous consent to change my vote from no to yes on item number, yes to no on item 4, local and private. 1762.
1762, you want to go from yes to no?
That's correct.
Any objection?
I think there may be some objections.
Okay. Is there objection? Okay, gentlemen, there is objection. Gentleman from Adams, Mr. Johnson.
Hold on one second.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind the House that we do have guests here today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other item on the calendar that I have missed that any chairman needs to take up? I don't see any. Appears we have completed our work. We now move into the recognition of our special guests. We have a number of special guests, ladies and gentlemen, so I would ask for your attention and your respect toward them. Please give us your attention, ladies and gentlemen. First special guest we have is in the South Gallery. I'm going to recognize the Chairman of Rules to introduce our special guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the South Gallery, earlier this year, we passed H.R. 36, and this is our Honorable Tom Weathersby's soccer team. If we could congratulate the principal of the school, Tony Martin, the coach, Bill Hood, and assistant coach, Joshua Kuvion, and of course, the mayor, Florence, Bob Morris, is here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your championship girls soccer team from that area, and we are so proud to have them here. Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for being here with us today.
Mr. Speaker, we also have, I think in this South Gallery, House Resolution number 35, which was for the boys soccer team, and the coach was Coach Adams, and this is the 4A Boys Soccer State Championship team. We're so proud to have you here, and we appreciate the mayor of that area coming as well. He is Pat Sullivan. So thank you for coming, Mayor, and thank you, boys soccer team, for being here. They're waiting to come in. Here they are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the boys soccer team. Stand up, boys. Congratulations on your big win.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to recognize you. Appreciate your patience. Congratulations.
Do you want them to stand up for a picture? Wait for time to get back up. Gentlemen, would you stand while Representative Weathersby hands the document so we can get a good picture of the resolution? And thank you, Mayor Pat Sullivan, for coming as well with these gentlemen. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of guests to be recognized in the gallery, and we have a number to be recognized on the floor. So I think we're going to alternate between the two while our guests in the gallery change places. So at this time, I want to recognize the lady from Madison, Miss Ford, who will introduce our special guest, and I would ask the Sergeant of Arms to escort into the chamber our special guest. Please give us your attention, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special guest to recognize. Thank you. We'll recognize the lady from Madison.
I'm not the special guest, but I do want to introduce. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce and recognize Chief M.E. Gene Waldrop for his leadership and dedication in law enforcement for the last 50 years. Chief Waldrop is the epitome of what a police chief is and should be. His dedication is unwavering. He is fiercely loyal and has a genuine passion to serve and protect. Chief Waldrop is not one to stand out in a crowd. He is a quiet man behind the scenes, leading, motivating, educating, and working very hard to create a safe environment for his community and the men and women that serve alongside him. I'm honored to have Mayor Mary Hawkins Butler of Madison here with us today. 30 years ago, it was Mayor Mary who reached out to Chief Waldrop as he was retiring from the Greenville Police Department and persuaded him to come and help her and others grow the city of Madison. As most of us know, Mayor Mary can be very persuasive. We are so thankful she asked, but equally thankful that he said yes. These two public servants have made Madison one of the safest and most desirable cities to live, work, and raise a family in the United States. We are so glad to have Chief Waldrop's wife of 46 years, Debbie Waldrop, and daughter Rossi Medlin, along with his two grandchildren, Allison, Grace, and Jacob. Along with us today, Assistant Chief Major Robert Sanders, who has served alongside Chief Waldrop for the last 18 years. Families of law enforcement officers make many sacrifices to allow spouses and parents to serve the public. So today we acknowledge the love and support Chief Waldrop has received from his family over the last 50 years. Thank you, Debbie and Rossi, for sharing your husband and father with our community and state. His dedication and leadership have not only benefited us, but will positively impact generations to come. Now I would like to ask the longest-serving Republican woman mayor in the United States, Mayor Mary Hawkins Butler, to say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Representative Ford. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for honoring our police chief. And we have our Senator Walter Michelle here also. This is a wonderful day. It's an exciting day, and it's a well-deserved day to honor Gene Waldrop, our Chief of Police. We know in our communities, the only way that we're going to ever encourage businesses, encourage families to live in our community is to have a safe city. That is a huge, huge arm of economic development. You got a safe city, that's what people are looking for. 30 years ago, Madison was a little bitty town, and when the chief came to Madison, we had 3 police officers. Today, we have 82. And from that point on, when we started to build the Madison Police Department, we talked about a place that could be something special in Mississippi, that we would focus on families, a place to live, and when the numbers are counted, then the businesses would come follow. What happened in the past 30 years is this. We worked hard to make sure our police department had the tools to protect the city. And number 2, the politicians got out of the way and let him do his job. The results, not only is the police department, the Madison City is one of the safest cities in Mississippi, but is the safest city in Mississippi and one of the safest in the whole country. And to that we owe our chief, Gene Waldrop. I'd like to thank his wife, Debbie, his daughter, Allison, his grandson, Jacob, for loaning him to us and giving him to us so that he could lead our department. We're a nationally certified police department. And we tried to send the message throughout the metro area, not in our town, mister. Come live with us, and we'll protect your property values. We will protect your investment, and we will keep you safe. We're proud to say that our work is not quite done, but we're making a lot of stride. And I do believe that the chief and I could have maybe another 50 years. God bless you. Thank you for being here. And come see us in the city of Madison. Thank you for all your hard work. I know it's tough, but it's worth it. God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for, I just realized today, Congressman Guest told me that Madison, since it's been a city, has become a city, has had one homicide. So thank you so much, Chief Waldrop, for keeping Madison safe. Here's your-
Thank you very much. First off, thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's for a person that doesn't say a whole lot, this is very humbling, and I'm very honored to be in your chamber this morning. Thank you to the members of this body for this recognition. Special thanks to Representative Jill Ford, Senator Walter Michelle that's with me today. How quickly 50 years can fly by in the blink of an eye. Had 2 jobs in 50 years, 20 at Greenville Police Department and 30 at Madison Police Department. Past shoulders that I have had the opportunity to stand on that helped my career, Chief Tom Nance, Chief Robert Skinner of the Greenville Police Department. Saw a little bit of potential in a young officer many years ago. Captain Victor Smith, who went on to be the sheriff of Washington County. He taught compassion and organizational skills. Lieutenant Elmer Brown, how to do proactive patrol before there was even the word proactive patrol. Present shoulders that help hold me up, Mayor Mary Hawkins Butler. She's the rock in that city, and it's an honor to serve with her. Served with 6 boards of aldermen, all a pleasure to work with. A group of professional department heads, past and present, who just make it a fun time to go to work some days. An outstanding mixture of residents, retail, and professional groups that push our department to raise the bar every day to make it more professional. And certainly the men and women of the Madison Police Department and their professionalism. It's not me. You just point the finger and tell them to go take care of the job, and they get it done. Sometimes we do not recall the weight of this shield. Sometimes these young officers and even old ones think it weighs 6 pounds. It only weighs 6 ounces. But it's put on our chest by the citizens of our communities because they put a trust in us in order to protect them and to serve them in an honorable way. So we have to justify the weight of this shield. It's 6 ounces. One thing I've learned over 50 years, there's 4 cornerstone rules to law enforcement. It's the profession, it's your citizens, it's the elected officials, and it's the media. And it takes all 4 of those cornerstone ways of moving the law enforcement profession in our communities to make it work. And I'm certainly glad today that we're in a time of interesting moments in our country that we can step forward and help protect our citizens. I'd certainly like to thank the support and rock of my life, and that's my wife, Debbie, of 46 years. Through thick and thin, she heard the good and the bad. My daughter, Rossi, grandchildren, Allison, Grace, and Jacob, you make me to be a better person. I thank Director Ken Winter of the Mississippi Association of Chiefs of Police for his leadership with our association and directing our chiefs across the state. I certainly like to thank you and Dr. Donna Eccles for the First Responders Caucus. It's going to be great. It's going to move things forward for our citizens in the community, whether it's law enforcement, fire service, EMS. Thank you for a special treat to just a little old country boy. Thank you.
All right, we will return now to the Chairman of Rules. I think we have another special guest in the South Gallery to be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If Madam Clerk could read the resolution. Ladies and gentlemen in the South Gallery, is Miss Stephanie Foster, and this is her special guest.
Gentlemen, we have quite a few guests. I think we're going to suspend with reading a resolution. If we just acknowledge the team and recognize them, I think
Yes,
it would
sir.
be great.
Stephanie, if your team would stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, this team won during the 2021 pandemic. They won the national championship and weren't able to come and get the recognition they deserve. And we're here today to recognize them. Also here today is the Principal Lorenzo Grimes and Assistant Principal Charles Willis. So thank y'all for being here and congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. We appreciate you coming today. Let us honoring you. You've done a great work. Congratulations. All right, we will return now to our next special guest to be honored on the floor. I'm going to recognize the gentleman from Harrison, Mr. Haney, and ask Sergeant Arms to escort to the podium our special guest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to honor a gentleman, a law enforcement public servant, 47 years. Now, the difference of this presentation and the one you just saw, it was kept a secret to Chief Wayne Payne. So he just found out a little while ago. He thought he was just come up and somebody's going to hand him something. He did not know he's going to be up here on the stage. So anyway, it was a surprise, and I don't know how to keep a surprise, but anyway. I'm not going to talk a lot. I know that's a shock to y'all, okay? But real quick, if you look at the screen, Chief Payne, can you step up and help me look at the screen if you can see the screen. The Payne family in Harrison County is a legacy. Goes back to the 40s, probably longer than that, but he had an uncle, the first police chief. And if you look down the far right, second row down, this is Chief Wayne Payne, and above him was his father, which was a police officer in Gulfport. So the legacy is there of the Payne family, well known in Harrison County. Cousins, they all look alike. They're cousins, they're brothers, everything else. So anyway, it's just a special honor to present the other folks up here behind me as far as his honor of service. He's a Gulfport boy, and 30 years service in Gulfport as a public servant. And we just an honor. And then he finished up in DeIville recently, I think 14 years. But his wife didn't come with him because, again, it was a surprise. He didn't know about it. But his wife has been with him 47 years. So she's put up with a lot as a public servant. So anyway, I'm going to ask Madam Clerk if she'll read a portion of the proclamation. Who told me that? Well, they surprised me. We're not going to do that. All right. Anyway, Chief Payne, again, with 47 years of service, he served after 30 years in Gulfport. He went, I think, 1 year to Long Beach. Then he's been the last 14 years in DeIville. So again, Chief Payne just found out about it, and we'd like to present him a resolution. And Chief Payne, is there any words you'd like to say, sir?
I'd just like to thank everybody for awarding this certificate here today. At 47 years, as Chief Rawls said a few minutes ago, it went by pretty quick. And the spouses of law enforcement officers sacrificed a life. Police work is very dangerous, and we realize when we pin that badge on, and I commend the first responders and law enforcement officers that have the courage to pin that badge on every day and leave their homes to go out and protect us. But it's also difficult on the spouses too, and it's a life of sacrifice, and I certainly commend them, and I certainly thank my wife for putting up with me for 47 years, but I'm not going to stay up here long. Speaker, thank you so much for having us here today, sir.
All right, we will return now to the gallery. I'm going to recognize the chairman of the rules to recognize our next guest in the gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We passed H.R. 109 earlier this year, and I would ask the lady from Jones to come up here and explain what it did.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And ladies and gentlemen of the House, it is my honor to recognize in the South Gallery Representative Donnie Scoggins, who will present a resolution to the South Jones High School Marching Band and their director, Brian Joyce, for earning first place at the 2021 Bands of America Regional Competition in Jacksonville, Alabama. This was the first time that the school participated, and they performed a Latin theme called La Rosa Exotica. So please help me recognize and give our congratulations to the South Jones High School Marching Band. Woohoo! Woohoo!
Thank you, lady. All right, we will return now to our next in-chamber recognition. I'm going to ask the Sergeant at Arms to escort our next guest to the podium, and I'm going to recognize the lady from Hines, Miss Gibbs, introduce our next guest.
I want to first start by personally thanking Mr. Speaker and the ladies and gentlemen of the House for you all giving me the honor and opportunity to recognize women today, particularly all of this week, in honor of Women's History Month. I appreciate you and your diligence as we recognize women of our state who has made profound contributions and advancements for women and for our society. House Resolution number 70 is an acknowledgement, and it commends the Brunch Group 2022 class of honorees for their societal contributions to promote women's excellence and empowerment and observance of Women's History Month. A brief synopsis of that resolution reads, whereas while the timeline of women's history milestones stretches back to the founding of the United States, the collective vision of the Brunch Group is to inspire, uplift, and celebrate women in our community who are leading the charge of influencing and transforming lives through their work. Whereas in keeping with the spirit of this year's theme by the National Women's History Alliance, Women Providing, Healing, Promoting Hope, which serves as both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during this pandemic, the Brunch Group has tapped 5 iconic community figures who personify the embodiment of providing healing and promoting hope in the fields of medicine, education, faith, and business. And whereas by zealously promoting stellar work within their respective fields, each of the honorees have established transformative legacies that will impact the image of our state for decades to come. These women are, would you please stand as I call your name? Dr. Jasmine Chapman, CEO of Jackson Hines Comprehensive Health Center. Dr. Carmen Walters, President of Tougaloo College. Mrs. Deborah McGee, Senior Vice President and Director of Minority Business Development for Bank Plus. Ms. Maggie Wade Dixon, anchor for WLBT News. And Jennifer Beard, Senior Pastor of Jackson Revival Center Church. And whereas it is the policy of the House of Representatives to recognize and commend the outstanding contributions to society made by women of Mississippi, and we firmly believe that it is fitting and proper to commend their positive role in the betterment of Mississippi. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the State of Mississippi that we do hereby acknowledge and commend the Brunch Group 2022 class of honorees for their societal contributions to promote women's excellence and empowerment in observance of Women's History Month. Congratulations to the honorees.
Don't do that.
All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Sadly, you have to laugh at yourself at some point.
Okay, we return now to our gallery guests. I'm going to recognize the Chairman of Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we passed H.R. 77, and if you'll look over in your south gallery, the gentleman from Pike is with a very special guest. Also, the Mayor Loxley is with her as well, but this is a resolution commending the life and service and accomplishments of Ms. Hilda Louise Smith-Cason and acknowledge her significant educational and civic contributions to Pike County. This is actually one of our wonderful school teachers. She taught for more than 50 years, and although she didn't teach me, she taught the gentleman up there standing with her. And if that's any indication of what kind of teacher she was, we have a brilliant woman and a brilliant career. She's had many accolades over the years. She's also started a 501c in her community, and my understanding, she's just as spry today as she was 50 years ago. So thank you, and God bless you, and we appreciate you.
Congratulations. We appreciate your service to the state of Mississippi. You make us proud. All right, we have one more recognition. I'm going to recognize the Chairman of Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I could recognize the gentleman from Tallahatchie to present the next one.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, we have in the South Gallery and Representatives Osborne and we have Representative Oliver with our guests, Murray Cornfeld, called Bubba, and his wife, Khaki. We're congratulating the 100th anniversary of Cornfeld's Department Store in Greenwood, Mississippi, a small business that has survived for 100 years. The story goes that Murray's grandfather came here, was born in Berlin, Germany, and then got to England And then his brother-in-law was living in Greenwood, so he said, come on over. So he came to Greenwood. They pedaled a pedaling cart in Carroll and LaFleur counties, and then he got a store, opened a store, and that store was opened 100 years ago, I believe this month. And his dad was Leslie Cornfeld, and I had the privilege of knowing him. And Representative Osborne, I believe you had a couple of sisters that worked for Cornfelds in the summertime, you know, and when they were coming. But at any rate, Leslie was Murray's dad, great guy, and Leslie fought in World War II, and he went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then he met his wife Gertrude after a 6-week courtship. And Leslie said, they fell in love, and Leslie said, if you got a twofer. If I live, you get me. If I die, you get my insurance policy. So, but at any rate, she said, let's get a rabbi. And they married and had a over 50-year wonderful marriage. And Bubba and Khaki have kept Cornfelds, and Khaki's the office manager of Greenwood Commonwealth. Might I say that they are epitome of, this is an epitome of a small business that keeps our state going, and this resolution commends Cornfeld on operating 100 years in the Mississippi Delta. And let me tell you what, at Cornfelds you can get clothes up to enormous sizes. That's a big and tall, but it's got clothing that fit every human being. So we want to commend Murray and Khaki and Representative Osborne, Representative Oliver. He's not my constituent, but I get there every time I can. Y'all take care. Thank you.
All right, I'm informed that the gentleman from Rankin, Mr. Powell, has a special introduction he would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to save the best for last. In the North Gallery, I have a group of young ladies from my alma mater, Northwest Rankin. This is this year's 6A women's soccer champion. They have only 4 seniors. They went 25, 1, and 2 with 15 shutouts. One of them just happened to be Clinton in the championship. But they are coached by Carly Little, head coach Carly Little, assistant coach Dylan Brent, and Kelly McGinnis. Y'all helped me congratulate them on their championship year.
Congratulations, ladies. We commend you for your success. Jim from Rankin, wasn't there a boys' championship game? Wasn't there a boys' championship game, ladies?
There he is. And oh, by the way, this is
who played in that game?
Don't tell him.
Clinton and Northwest Rankin. Who won that game?
Don't tell him.
Clinton. There you go.
But let me say this: they are number 2 in the nation as well. So.
Jim from Pike, Mr. Mims, what purpose?
Introduction out of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, on behalf of the Adams County delegation, we would like to welcome in the South Gallery group with Natchez leadership. We'd like to welcome them to their capital.
Jim from Scott, Mr. Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction. The gentleman from Rankin missed out on that introduction. 2 of the best things being a part of that team was Coach Cooper and Coach Bradford, which those are Forest boys from Scott County as well.
Thank you, sir. All right. Announcements, Mr. Clerk.
We'll have page pictures immediately after adjournment.
Announcements, Madam Clerk. No announcements. Announcements by the members. Gentleman from Harrison, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask permission to put more than 100 words in the House Journal on House Bill 530.
Any objection? Hearing none, we'll do that. Gentleman from Pearl River, Mr. Owen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They didn't get an opportunity to make it into the gallery, but today at the Capitol, Pearl River County has the Pearl River Central Student Council along with the superintendent and his staff. So please join me in welcoming them to their Capitol today.
Gentleman from Covington, Mr. Sanford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of myself, the gentleman from Lawrence would move that we adjourn in memory of Clayton Robbins from Bassfield. He is the uncle of Eric Bennett with the Bankers Association.
Thank you, sir. We'll do that. Gentleman Jackson, Mr. Zuber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, if you do not have your request in for your specialized card tag, please get that to me before 5 p.m. today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from Fayette, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to request up to 100 words put in the Journal on House Bill 762 regarding my vote.
You have the right to do 100 words already, gentlemen. You just need to, if you want to exceed
over 100.
You want to exceed that. Any objection? Hearing none, we'll do that. Jim from Scott, Mr. Miles, again.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Adjourn in memory, please.
Yes.
One of our longtime fire chiefs from the town of Pelahatchie passed away this morning. Chief Dennis Jackson, if you knew him, his name was better known as Papa D. He'll be missed in our community.
Thank you, sir. Jim Pearl River, Mr. Owen.
I jumped the gun a little bit, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery here is the Student Council along with the staff at Pearl River Central, Superintendent Adlin Lumpkin joining us today. Please join me in welcoming them. And a special note, Presley, stand up. A special note, this is my little cousin Presley. She received very good news yesterday about a scholarship to the University of Alabama. She will be going there in August. She did promise, however, that if we eliminate the income tax, she will return to Mississippi.
All right. Lady from Madison, Ms. Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do not see Representative Carl Oliver, but today is his birthday, so please make sure you tell him a happy birthday.
Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Geis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Adjourn in memory of Mr. Jimmy Reynolds of Latimer, passed on to be with our Lord on March 21st.
Thank you, sir. We'll do that. All right, I don't see any further announcements. It is my understanding the Chairman of Appropriations has a special announcement he needs to make.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I come to you with mixed emotions here to say I've been a faithful member of this House of Representatives, and years ago when I came up here, I was on a Harley. I was kind of the Harley man for several years and was kind of the king of the house of Harleys. And I have proof. I have a picture on the wall of me on my Harley in front of the Capitol and stuff. But I found out today from the representative from Hines that the representative from Tallahatchie County has supplanted me as the Harley King, motorcycle king of the house. And I'm here with mixed emotions and sad, but I feel as a better person. I want to bring him up and give him his trophy and pass the title to the motorcycle king of the house, the gentleman from Tallahatchie, Mr. Rosebud. Come forward and receive it. Thank you.
All right. I don't see any further announcements. Reminder of page pictures. I'm going to recognize the gentleman from Octavia Hall for the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move this House stand in recess until after the last conference report has been filed, in which time the Journal will reflect that the House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. in the morning.
Motion is adjourned 10 a.m. tomorrow. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House adjourned till 10 a.m. tomorrow.